Hey everyone, it's Maribel Blue with a new Maribel Blue Unfiltered, the reality TV version. And the reason why I say reality TV version, because my channel is a variety of different topics. As you know, and I will be including that link, I interviewed Ken Porcelain, who came out with a new song. And let me tell you something, you have got to check out this video. It is so fierce and it has such a powerful message. It is called, I got to whip out my phone, Crisis of the Battle Blood Part 1. A must watch video. Please support this artist, Ken Porcelain. I love him. He has a message. It is a video that you must watch. So, with all that being said, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe. Please hit like. Please comment. I need some more love on this channel. Like once upon a time before YouTube was really nothing, I would have really high engagement. So I need your help. I need people to subscribe because I want to do this every day. I have a big idea that I am putting together, and it is something that everybody will enjoy. It really has to do with a lot of social stuff that's going on today. So I want you to participate and not miss out. And some of that content, I am guessing, I'm still kind of weeding out the ideas of how everything is going to work, will be on Patreon. We'll add all of those links down below. That way you can follow all of my socials and see what's going on. And of course, we cannot forget my little business here, Servebox. I just got connected with Just CBD brands. I can't believe that I almost forgot what I was going to say. And I shouldn't say connected. I have invested in my store. And these are the actual sizes of these bottles, but they are being repackaged into smaller jars, such as these. And this is actually the pain cream. It's really good. It does have a medicine smell, but I will tell you, this is my sample bottle. This is none of anything that's in these jars are for sale. These are sample bottles that I took pictures of so that I could reuse it, because everything is made to order. So this is the pain reliever cream, which is actually very, very good. This is the lavender cream. Y'all know I have such an obsession with lavender. Mm, I can't even begin to tell you. And what's really cool about this is that it's not like this strong lavender scent, but the pain cream is kind of strong. You will smell it. But the wonderful thing about the pain cream, it doesn't really stay in your hands. It's not like a sticky feeling, or like if you put it on and you wash your hands and then touch your eye, you're like screaming in pain. It doesn't happen like that, because I know people that would do that, like myself. So anyway, and yes, this is the massage oil, and it smells so good. It's like a very buttery kind of smell. It's so good. I can't even begin to tell you. So all of these boxes, you will find them on servebox.com. Of course, I will be including that link. So do support small business. We all love you here. Now let's get started with the show. We're going to be busy here. So I would say, like in the famous words, sit back, relax, grab a snack, because this is probably going to be a long one. So I want to talk about, I don't know where to put my clip. Just put it on my lap over here. So I want to talk about the whole Kyle and Kathy story, because clearly there is a lot of pain between these two women with the loss of their mother. I believe that she had cancer, and this is the reason why Kyle's so adamant about get yourself checked out as a woman. Please stay on top of your health. Don't neglect things. And I should really do that because I haven't been checked out in a while. But needless to say, I wanted to mention that I understood why Kyle did her show on Paramount. Now it totally escapes me, but of course, because I forget stuff instead of writing it down. Oh, I think it was like called American Woman. I love the show, I have to say. And I understood that she was not doing like her actual mother's life, but almost like a perception of what it was like to be a woman, I believe in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. It was a different time for women as opposed to now, how we express ourselves, how we identify ourselves, the pronouns that we choose to use. And like I said, this is a different time. Back then, it was different. It was more like these were the men, these were the women, and everybody was separated. If you didn't think like a man, if you didn't perform like a man, you were not a man. You couldn't be involved in construction. Most financial industries all included men. And I even spoke about that in my last blog when I did the spotlight on Margaret Josephs. I talked about my own experiences of, and I will write that down here because I just want to be mindful of the whole YouTube community guidelines of the experiences that I've had being a 19-year-old girl at work and being taken advantage of, so to speak. So I appreciate that Kyle took the time out to do this show. And it's just so sad because I really liked Alicia Silverstone. I like her acting. And it sucks that they canceled the show. I didn't like that at all. On the outtakes, when Kathy Hilton was talking about Andy being like their psychiatrist, she gives him too much credit for that. I'm going to give Andy credit where credit is due, but he's definitely not some kind of psychiatrist, psychologist, or whatever. Andy's job, basically, other than producing these shows and I guess who gets hired and fired, is to dig in, dig at them, and try and get as much information as he can from them. That's really his whole job of this show. So for her to say that he's like some kind of a psychiatrist, that's no. Mm-mm. Let's not even go there. The other thing that he mentions, and one thing that I wanted to say was, he seems to be astounded about Kathy Hilton and her husband eating on like these tay trables. Tay trables. Tay. I'm still saying it wrong. On these tray tables. Like, are rich people supposed to eat like the first Batman, where Michael Keaton was on one end of the spectrum and Kim Basinger was on the other side, and you literally have to throw the salt at somebody? Come on, just because people are rich, it doesn't mean that they live a certain lifestyle of how they eat dinner. If that's something for Kathy to do, if she finds that comforting, then so be it. Money really doesn't have anything to do with how you eat dinner. Well, unless, you have a chef. And then the final point that I want to make, and I'll read what I wrote. When Andy asked about Kim's opinion about Kathy being on the show, because Kim, she said that Kim was happy about Kathy being on the show, but just don't lose your temper. So Kyle responds, "That's really hard." And then the camera points right to Erica, because we all know that Erica flares up at the drop of a dime. When Crystal was asking her, "Why aren't you showing enough anger?" And then like she's taking it out on her. Like, Erica, please get it together. My neighbor back in New York tells me, "Oh, I'm surprised that you didn't bring up any comments about the dress that Erica wore." Trust me when I tell you we're going to get there, because I have downloaded all of the fashion ensembles that she put together for all of the reunions, and this one was by far the worst, especially like when you're going through something that has to do with court and being sued and attorneys and all of this stuff. Now I want to talk about Crystal. One of the things that I want to talk about was the issue with Crystal. She has body images issues, which I totally get. I have been there. I'm probably still there, but this is not about me. This is about Crystal. She shared the problems that she had when Sutton had walked in, and she felt like this violated because Sutton had saw her naked. And it's like, now we understand why you felt what you felt. And she never really conveyed that as the episodes went on. It wasn't until we saw the reunion, oh, this is the reason why you felt what you felt, because you had body images issues, you were anorexic, you starve yourself. So she still has that thing about herself of a stranger seeing her naked. And I think for Sutton, it just really didn't matter. It was like kind of, oh, I saw you naked. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on here, but let me just walk out. So there really was these mixed messages of what Sutton had seen and then how Crystal reacted. But the other thing that was disturbing was the conversation that Sutton and Crystal had. And I talked about this in my blog. I titled it, Are You That Girl Who Doesn't See Color? Now, I'm going to try and come as correct as possible because I know people get in over their head. They start breaking down words and analyzing it, or even just taking parts of sentences and then running with it when they're not really understanding what that person has just conveyed in that thought process of saying it out loud. At a time that I grew up, we didn't see color. This wasn't about you're black, you're white, you're Asian, you're Jewish, blah, 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 blah. Like we all knew everybody's backgrounds, but we didn't treat them as such. We treated them like human beings. They were our friends. We didn't care about what you celebrated, what you didn't celebrate, whatever. Like we were all one. And in this day and age, I guess everybody wants to be identified as their differences. And I get that and I respect that. But at the same time, when Crystal had brought that point up, it seemed to have garnered more hate than anything else. Like she had to deactivate her Twitter. She was still getting hate messages. It just out of control. My point is that there's nothing wrong with sharing your culture, your food, what you celebrate. And I think this is the beauty about all of us as human beings is that we have these different backgrounds and we celebrate that. So it was great to have friends that we can all talk about, like these different backgrounds that our ancestors had. Now, all of a sudden, if you talk about these things, there's somebody waiting in the wings to chastise you about your background and go back where you came from. Like where on earth is all of this coming from? And for all those people who are like totally racist and like raising their hands and using inappropriate signs, try going to Germany and doing that. Never be back in that country again because you that they would tolerate shit like that. I don't know what rock you're living under, but get out of it and stop the bullshit. So now let's talk about Erica. Okay. I was actually taking meticulous notes on how they played back scenes of Erica's different types of angers and like yelling at people. So Erica yelling at Sutton, Erica finding out about the dinner with Kyle, Mauricio, PK, and Dorit. And here's the thing. It's like, this is what you have to understand. Erica seems to have all of these stories that are not in order. And I think in one time or another, we've had that one weird friend that we love, but we also know they have a tendency of stretching the truth or maybe omitting some parts of the truth, which we have seen play out on the episodes. And I'm not even going to say allegedly because we're all watching the same shit on Bravo and everybody is quoting the same things that Erica has said. So it's not something that's alleged unless it's alleged, which is her new word now, alleged. Allegedly, he rolled over. Allegedly, he broke his ankle. Allegedly, this. I mean, it's like, come on. Either it happened or it didn't happen. Like, which one is it? And people sit there and wonder, why is it that PK and Mauricio were busy laughing their asses off when they were talking about his ankle? And this, it becomes like a joke. And everybody has done it in one form or another, where you all have the same friend and you all sit together and you sit down and you say, well, you all sit together and say, did you hear that story that Lulu told us? I'm just using a fictitious name. And maybe Lulu told one side of the story, and then she goes and tells the person, another person, the other side of the story, and until they collaborate and find out what is going on with the story. This is Erica. So for her to get mad and say, could you back me up here? Who are my friends? Well, I'm finding out who my friends are. You cannot fault Sutton for seeking out advice from an attorney. Whether she spoke to an attorney friend casually bringing these points up, let me tell you something. I would be the first person on the phone, especially if I'm dealing with charitable organizations and they're seeing this shit. Like I told you before, my other video, Bernie Madoff. Come on, let's not forget that. Somebody had a good reputation and he screwed over everyone and charitable and whatever just to get money. Let's not forget that. And it doesn't make any sense how Erica gets upset at everybody else around her when there's so many inaccuracies and holes in her story. It's like, which one is it? Did he start losing his memory 3 years ago or 5 years ago? When did you decide that it was time for you to leave? And why didn't you have a conversation with him instead of just getting up and leaving? There's so much stuff. And I feel like even after watching episodes 3 and 4, I still didn't come to a conclusion as to what was going on, as to what is the truth and what's happening here. So Erica at some point is just going to have to understand, like, look beyond yourself and start understanding people around you and how they're looking at this. Like, maybe repeat the stories to yourself and see how you sound when you play it back. And then maybe you'll understand. And then there's more. And I think for this, I'm going to read my cards because I don't want to miss out on anything. Why people would make her story comedic. Okay. Think about it. Think about the inconsistencies and the inaccuracies of her stories. And then I write, I'm so perplexed. Why is Erica making this about herself? Something bigger is going on other than the woe is me. I can't believe this is happening to me. I'm being sued every day. I have lawyers calling me up every day. Yeah, we know that, Erica, because you're not responding appropriately. You're making it like you are the victim in all of this. Oh, you left your husband? Even more suspect. Even more suspect to get up and leave and not tell him anything. And then all of a sudden, you randomly text your friends. Remember that last week I was talking about how crazy I was about Tom and what a wonderful husband he is? Well, I left him and it's going to be a big deal. So just give me some time to get my shit together. It's like, wait, what? What just happened here? She boasted about how wonderful her relationship was. She gave her money to Tom, which I can't even understand that. She drives him to work one day, comes back, packs her shit, and leaves. She sells everything that she had kept from her Erica Jane shows, whatever it is that she had. Because if you remember that one episode where she had like a shitload of stuff, I don't know if it was like something that they recorded like an outtake and they just planted it in when she was closing up that studio. She doesn't stand by what she says. And instead of taking it on a different point of view, like through, especially through the advice of her attorney, if she turned around and she was being forthcoming and honest and not talking about what a wonderful marriage that she had, if she had just said, there's something wrong, I don't know how to deal with it, I think I need some help or advice with this. I think Tom may be doing something that's unethical. I'm hearing things through the rumorville of the attorneys of what's going on. For Andy to ask, does anybody believe that Erica did not know anything? And they all chimed in, oh no, we don't think Erica knew anything. Really? Then why was she giving him her money? Like, what prompt that? I just try and hear me out here, okay? Erica presents herself as this very super powerful superwoman. I'm this. I mean, she just has this air about herself. And she has really scathed through this show without having drama pointed at her, other than her little outburst of anger. She doesn't like being called a liar. She doesn't like being questioned about her integrity. All of these things. Well, why so defensive? Because I would think if you're defensive, then you have something to hide, like something isn't right. And this is the reason why you're reacting to it. There's just a lot of things going on that we're just not seeing. And again, I'm not trying to play psychologist here. I'm just going by what I've experienced in my life, having conversations with people, making 12-step meetings, listening to people. Like, you really have to listen to people and not make interpretations of what's the thoughts that are going through your head. Because yes, when we're listening to people, we have 3,000 thoughts that are going on all at once. I want to say this, I want to say that. And you're not really internalizing things that people, what they're saying. So I don't know what's going on with Erica, but clearly there's something not right where she just gets into some kind of a gasket about being accused of being a liar. What's up with that? And the other thing is that if she was going through these whole motions of planning on leaving Tom, if she heard any rumors about the victims of this airplane crash and burn victims, I apologize. I don't know. I don't have the specifics on this, but what I'm seeing on social media and what I've watched on television is that why not stand up with these victims? Why is it that you, Erica, think that you are a victim? Who's looking at you like that? If there's somebody watching this video and you comment below that you see Erica as a victim, please explain to me why you see her as a victim. Because I don't. I find it very difficult for a person to sit there and say, I didn't know he was doing this. I didn't know he was taking money. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. But yet, here you are giving him your paycheck. And just wrapping up that portion, one of the notes that I took down, when Andy asked Erica about the perception, like she's a victim, my notes were Erica is so self centered, it isn't about what she can or can't say. How can she say that she's surprised at the women's reaction? Garcelle brings up a good point about blissfulness, seeing the signs but not acknowledging them. So I still stand. She had to know something. And the thing is that Tom is still contacting her and she's still questioning him about what he did. Like, are we really going to get an answer? She was giving him her paycheck. Like, I can't get away from that. This is super duper complex. And like myself and everybody else who has blogged and vlogged and done videos and interviews and gotten any inside information, we are all speculating as to what happened and what's going to happen and what Erica's future looks like. Like, will she still be on the show? And the other thing is, like, she wants to bite people's head off, but did she bite Tom's head off when he didn't attend her show in Chicago when he was in Washington, D.C.? Oh, but wait a minute, he could have been cheating on her. Maybe that's why he couldn't attend. So maybe Tom just gets a pass. right? But then everybody else gets to get their head bitten off because they're asking logical questions that they deserve a logical answer. And I have to say, after she lashed out on Crystal like that, when Crystal had questioned about her anger and like why she wasn't angry enough, and then she like takes it out on Crystal. Like, look at Andy's face. And I'm gonna insert the video here because it was just too crazy. He even looked afraid to ask the next question. Given Erica's history on the show, I can only say that throughout all of the seasons, we really didn't get to know Erica. And even the book that she wrote that I heard really poor reviews, not heard, but actually read online, the poor reviews of this book, it was more of a book like, look at the fabulous life I have, as opposed to you, mere mortals, sitting in front of the television watching me. I guess that's the perception that I got from the comments that I had read online. And when she first came on, she was a fan favorite. Everybody liked her because, again, she exuded this powerfulness about herself. She had this fabulous life. She had this wonderful husband who took in her and her son and took care of them. Okay, it's a wonderful story and I get it, but now thinking back about it, was that also just another pack of lies? Like, what is the truth? Is what I'm trying to get at here. And not that I'm personally going to get an answer, but I think it's kind of like one of those mysteries of somebody is sharing something with you, somebody is telling you something, and then you find out it's just a pack of lies. Take, for example, when I was with Shit Show. I always got to bring that up in one form or another. The beginning seemed to have common sense and the stories were logical. But then when I met the person in real life, I started to realize that when the stories were being retold, they didn't match what I originally heard. And then I said to myself, what kind of shit show did I just get myself into? I better end this right now before it gets even worse. And so I did. However, I will say this: I myself didn't let anyone know what was going on. I told a few select people something ain't right with this person. I don't think I want to be in this relationship. What I thought I felt, I'm not feeling it. So of course that brings up the point with Erica coming into the show and making us believe that she was living this fabulous life when she really wasn't. What is that word I'm looking for? Was she a prisoner in this home? Did did Tom have like some kind of deal with her? Well, if you're going to stay in this house and we're going to live like this, these are the rules and this is the way it's going to be. Who knows what prompted her to get up and leave the way she did? Maybe she couldn't tell him she was going to leave. It sometimes I feel like it comes out of an investigation discovery story. The only thing is that thankfully both of them are alive and live to tell the story, and not just one person telling the story while the other one, oh wait, the other one is in jail. And then of course the big question when Andy asked, did you ask, did he do it, or why did he do it? And Erica responds, he doesn't even acknowledge it. So you mean to tell me that this man is so out of it that he does not know he was stealing from people? What was he doing with the money then? Tell me. What was he doing with $20 million? Somebody explain that shit to me. You don't know where $20 million? Do you know where $20 million went? You over there. Do you know where $20 million went? What? No, it didn't go in my LLC. I guess we're going to be hunting for 20 million. It must be in a suitcase somewhere. Oh, and then here's the other thing, the American Express, right? This is the part that I love. She didn't get $20 million, right? Andy asked, "What about the $14 million that she owes to American Express?" How does somebody even do that? Explain to me. Oh, no, no, no. No, it's not $14 million. It's she said 2 million per year over 12 years. Well, who failed to pay the bill? You tell me how American Express is not gonna come knocking on your door in the first year. Yo, you owe us $2 million. I have to laugh because it just sounds so ridiculous. You're gonna tell me that American Express kept that card alive all of that time? For real? For real. I thought when you had I know that they have those American Express card where you pay for it monthly, but let me tell you something. Back in my day when we heard about American Express, if you spent $500, and back then $500 was a lot of money, when you got that bill, guess what you would pay? $500. And if there was financing involved in it, maybe 550. You're going to tell me that American Express didn't come knocking on your door talking about where's the $2 million? Come on now. Come on. I can't even with this. I can't even. I I cannot wrap my head around that shit right now. I have forgot that I wrote this in my notes cuz it's just like it's shocking. It's shocking. Yeah, it was 2 million per year over a 12-year period, and nobody was paying the bill. Next. And then here's the other thing. Okay. He talks about this Queens of Bravo, whoever it is, I guess on Twitter or what have you, when she had made the comment about that she was coming for Sutton, right? Because she didn't like that Sutton was inquiring and that she did her homework and that she read that LA Times article very thoroughly. And Erica's talking about you threatened my family. What family? Who? Because she wasn't threatening her son. We all know what happened when Eileen Davidson just made a fictitious example and Erica lost it. So, what are you talking about, Erica? It's just like, I'm confused there too. Why are you going to threaten a woman who, oh, wait, allegedly threatened? Let me correct myself, okay? Who did her homework? Because if Erica was my friend and she was up Shit's Creek, like I said before, hello, hello, attorney. Yeah, I need some help here. I don't know. Does anybody think in their mind that anyone who's watching this, like the Bravo executives or whatever, like, do you think the people on the other end watching this, they're just so zooted on the lifestyle that they're not reading in between the lines of what's going on? Because I am. So I want to say this, just wrapping everything up because it almost feels like it's all inconclusive. And I had wrote this note because this is my last two cards over here. You know, murder mysteries when a detective is questioning a suspect and they revisit that same suspect and the story changes. Like you've seen shows like that on ID Network. Like they pretty much have an idea that this person knows more than what they're sharing. So then they go back and revisit that person and assure the person, no, you're not here to get arrested or anything like that. Anybody watches these murder mystery shows, the detectives know more than what they're saying. They're just waiting for you to spill the guts of what the story really is so that they could confirm it. If Erica was different about it, if she had reacted differently to it and said, you know what, something horrible has happened here that I am not in agreement with, and I will make every concerted effort to help along with whatever course the investigation is going, or however it works, whatever it takes. I will be there every step of the way to provide as much information as I can under the advice of my attorney without incriminating myself. Then I would be like, hey, Erica, wow, this is really big of you. What a change. No, instead, she's the victim. She's sitting there crying. She's checking her phone. Tom still calls me, blah, blah, blah. How could we feel sorry for a person like that? How could we sit there and not be upset and not question when somebody has just lost a family member, not by asking for it, and something horrible happened, and they're expecting to be compensated, and now all of a sudden we've got Tom Girardi who can't remember anything. Of course, I'm going to continue following up with all of this. I'm going to keep reading stories. And if I'm not doing a video about it, I will be updating my Maribel Blue Unfiltered site. I will be blogging about it because it's just something, like I said, it's going to be for years to come. Whether it will die down, I have no idea. And I just want to say one more thing, that there was an article that came out about Dorit being robbed at gunpoint. I think it's a horrible thing for something like that to happen. It's very scary when you're in a reality TV show, and even though you're not seeing the address of the house or street names, but you see aerial views, who knows what anybody is doing. And I just think it's crazy. And I also think that Dorit should get a new security service. I'm just saying. So, with all that being said, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out and watching this video. Definitely subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, hit the notification button so that you wouldn't miss out any of my videos. I have an interview that I have been editing now. It's like 2 weeks, that I did with Ian Solano. He's a DJ. And let me tell you something, this interview was so endearing, but I messed up with the camera because I was using this camera that you see here. And instead of using my laptop camera, I am on the side the whole time looking at him because that's where my laptop was. So I apologize that it's kind of like a screwy video, but the message that Ian shares on his interview is outstanding, and it's something that you definitely must watch once I edit it and put it up. So with all that being said, this is Maribel Blue signing off, and until then, always remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye everybody.